I'm zooming in a little bit.
Might be good.
Yeah.
So
Here we go. Well, I hit live and then completely forgot what I was going to do. Welcome to Welcome to the Mobile Must Have live stream. My name is Dave. I'm the head of special projects. With us, we have our founder and fearless leader, Eric. Today's topic is winterizing your RV. And what I thought was really, really cute was I asked Andy if he could sit in on this. And he looked at me and he goes, well, I would, except for the fact that I've never had to winterize my RV. I just go somewhere warm. I thought that was really, really funny. So here we are. And us as you know, northeastern and cold weather RVers, you know, this is something you got to deal with, right?
Well, I mean, it's not all that uncommon, believe it or not. I mean, I didn't winterize my RV for the first 4 years of having it, so I can understand. It's obviously much more common if you live in your RV.
Yep.
But yeah, this year I've kind of got the interesting trifecta of owning a travel trailer that's a 3-season travel trailer. Which means it's really not designed to be in the winter, and I have it in the winter up in New Hampshire right now. And then I have my RV that is winterized, which normally is never winterized because we, like Andy, would take it south. But we are staying up here with the family, and I didn't feel like paying for diesel to heat the big bus for 2 months while we're here. So we went for the winterization.
Got it. So is it really you're winterizing an RV to sort of just like the way you'd winterize a boat, which is my language, to put it away for the winter, really, right? Or are you using it? Are you winterizing it to make it survive the winter? I'm still not clear on that because
both.
just a tech guy.
So you would winterize typically, or you could even call it like put it into storage for a couple reasons, right? So if you have your RV in storage for an extended period of time and you leave, just say, common tap water in your water lines, and you do not flush that water out before storing the RV, within 3 to 5 weeks, it's kind of a guess, but personal experience tells me it's pretty close, you will develop bacteria in those water lines, and then you will start to smell and potentially get sick from things that are growing and living inside of your water tank and your water lines. And then obviously when water freezes, it expands, and when it expands, things break. So if you're not going to have your RV heated, you definitely want to winterize it.
And then same goes for just storing it in general, then whether you're cold weather or not. That's sort of a separate thing.
Having your lines, your water lines in a place where they're not going to be letting stuff fester and sit would always be a good thing.
Yeah. Yep.
It's a lot easier to prevent bacteria growth than to get rid of bacteria growth.
Yeah, that makes sense. You think about it, it's a lot easier to stave off an infection if you cut yourself than to deal with it once you have one. Same concept.
And a lot of people have for years, people have flushed out their water lines with bleach.
Okay.
And haven't actually realized that almost every single water system, meaning water filtration system, will say never flush bleach through me. And most hot water systems, including AquaHots, that's a very common hot water heater, will say never flush bleach through that either. So there's caustic aspects to why bleach kills bacteria, and it's also something that the manufacturers don't want to see inside of the water lines. So, I'll just run bleach through the lines and kill all the bacteria is not always the best thing to do, since the manufacturer could technically say that you voided your warranty by doing that.
Yep.
There are ways to do sanitation. You'd use a non-bleach water sanitation chemical that's out there to do that. Plenty of marine and RV searches on Amazon will find all sorts of ones that are allowed.
Yep. But the alternative is what we recommend, which is the Viair stuff, right? I mean,
well, so if you don't want if you do want to winterize and you want to kind of get yourself ahead of the game and not, deal with having to keep your heat on throughout the whole winter if you're not using the RV, then you can winterize in two basic methods. One is to use, well, three. I'll say three. One is to use air, so blow out your entire system with air using a compressor. We sell via our compressors. It's nice to have a small portable compressor that has the power of a big commercial, not commercial, but contractor, I'll say, compressor, one that you'd get at Home Depot, something that can keep continuously producing air, which is very rare in a portable compressor. That's definitely a Viair thing.
You mean you can't do it with a little bike pump for some reason?
Maybe like just little bubbles, not enough to get the water out of your lines. And then RV antifreeze, which you can pick up just about anywhere. You can buy it on Amazon, although it's very expensive. You can buy it at Home Depot, probably the cheapest place out there I've found, or Tractor Supply. Those are my two go-tos for like $2.98 a gallon for RV antifreeze. Or you can do a combination of both, which is what I do. We can get into why I would do a combination of both, but those are kind of your three options.
Yeah, I was going to say, you could predict my next question there would be sort of why, but
Yeah, so I will try to not use RV antifreeze in as many places as possible because it tastes horrible. And when you get it in your water lines and you try to get it out of your water lines, there's a lot of mixed content on this. Oh, I just run my shower for an hour and it's all gone and I'm fine. So when you try to get rid of RV antifreeze, so first of all, when you buy it, it's pink. It comes in a jug, which I have over there, so I can grab one and show you. It is non-toxic, so you could technically drink it. So don't get scared. I mean, I wouldn't drink it, but you could technically. But it has a taste to it that's unpleasant and chemically, and it creates bubbles in the water. So you sort of know you still have a little bit of antifreeze in your lines, because when you turn on the sink, your whole bottom of your sink will just look like a cloud of bubbles that immediately dissipate. So you're like, it's still there. I've flushed my lines for hours and it all is gone. And then I come back a day later, I turn them on and I'm like, it's like it's back. Maybe that's just my RV has like a lot of lines or something. But after going through that, I definitely try to not use it in as many places as possible.
Okay.
Now, with that said, if you talk to the manufacturers of the kind of the larger or more high-end water heaters like AquaHots or HydroHot systems, they will tell you that it is not allowed to simply winterize those water heaters with air alone. So that's why I don't just use air. On our travel trailer, I just use air. I don't even bother winterizing, with the exception of your drain lines. So you can blow out all of your water lines and forget that underneath each of your drain lines, there's a little P-trap. That's what it's called, because it's shaped like a P.
Yep.
So none of your water lines will be cracked next year when you get into the RV, but all of your drains will be cracked. So you'll just go and turn on the water and under your sink.
Dump it all into your basement. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, the worst one that you could ever crack is your shower drain, because it's impossible to get to. So
I was going to say that doesn't feel like a part you could easily get to without ripping out the entire. Oh,
yes, I've done it. It's right, at least for me and my Integra, it's right above the front drive wheels back by the motor. And it was horrible. It was absolutely horrible.
Yep.
They have since, because of work I've done with them, put in access door back there. That was not there on my coach. The newer,
but it is going forward.
It is now, because we all had to figure out how to cut that hole. So
Sawzall, welding torch, cutting torch,
kind of all of the above. I would say it was a fun week. But yeah, you want to avoid that. So
fair. Okay. So we do have some questions right away here.
Sure.
Let's see if I can remember how to put them up. Vince Walker, if you use a Viair compressor to blow out the lines, how do you deal with the washer and the ice maker?
Good question. So on the washer side, you're going to basically want to do two things. The first thing I do is I dump a half a gallon or so. I think the manufacturer instructions will tell you, but it's usually around a half a gallon or so of RV antifreeze into the basket, right? And we have an article that goes through my complete winterization checklist, and you can save yourself some time if you do it in order. So I'm skipping a ton of steps.
Yep.
The most of the reason why you can skip is because this antifreeze you're putting in the washing machine is going to go somewhere, and you probably want to drain that. So if you follow it in order, it'll just be faster. But
I'll
long
put a
story short,
link to the blog post here too
right.
in the show note in the comments here in a second.
So you'll want to attach your Via air system. You're going to want to make sure you've got your winterization kit, which is this. You're going to want to make sure that you're no higher than 40 to 45 psi, so you're not introducing a high amount of air pressure into your water system, which could create leaks. That's why this is so important. It gives you that ability to dial in exactly the pressure that you want to give to the system. And then you're going to take your washing machine and you're going to put it on the spin rinse cycle. It's one of the settings on every washing machine. And if you don't have one for some reason, open up the manual to the washer and look at winterizing, because there will be a section on that, because even if you're not in an RV, you have to winterize a washer in a house. It's a very common practice. A dishwasher would be the same. But if you put it on spin rinse, it's going to turn on the pump and drain and fill what was in the basket through the drain lines. And it's also going to open up the water inlet for a minute, and it's going to shoot all of the remaining water in those lines out of the lines into the basket. And that's how you will drain. You'll basically fill the washing machine's pump with antifreeze, and then you will get rid of the inlets with air. So that's a good way to do that.
Very cool. Very cool. And then I guess this isn't really a question. This is more of a comment from Tim. I never winterize any of my RVs, saying that I don't stay in an area where I need to. I've stayed in an area that did freeze, but just for a short time. My tanks are heated, so no issues so far.
Yeah.
Any life lessons there that we might be able to caution against, or?
Yeah. Let me finish the first question. He asked about the ice maker.
Oh yeah. Sorry, I didn't realize. Yeah, sorry, I didn't realize you hadn't got to that
Yeah.
part.
So ice maker is kind of tricky if it's the only thing in your refrigerator. But it's also an interesting device in that it's well, long story short, my refrigerator has a water tap on the front of it. So when I have the Via connected, I will run water through it. I'll run the water with the air hooked up until air comes out. But before I do that, I remove the filter inside of the to the machine. If you don't have a water out, you may want to consider winterizing that with antifreeze, and you would basically follow your manufacturer guideline for how to introduce antifreeze into your RV. It's different for every unit. We can go into the high levels, but usually you can use your water pump to basically suck antifreeze in instead of water.
Yeah.
And then you would just wait for the thing to make a set of ice. It's kind of a pain in the butt. It would take longer, but a lot of people don't really take a lot of time to winterize their ice makers, because the ice maker little 1/4-inch line doesn't really crack. I mean, I don't take my advice on that, but it's very squishy and expandable, the PVC they use. So it's not the end of the world if it freezes, basically, is what I'd say.
Well, and the ice maker itself is designed to freeze stuff, so
it's sitting in a freezer. Yes.
Right, exactly.
It's kind of good at that.
Yeah, I would say that would make sense. It's kind of hardened against ice.
The one I always forget about, and I'm going to sound like such a snob saying this, is the dishwasher. Yes, my RV has a dishwasher. I kind of don't need. I almost miss the cabinet that my dishwasher was in, meaning it's not the best, appliance, but you do need to winterize it. So just make sure you follow those instructions. Very, very similar. Pour a bunch of antifreeze, RV antifreeze, not car antifreeze. And not the other thing to mention is it's not boiler antifreeze either. Like an Aquahot uses something called boiler antifreeze, totally different than RV winterization antifreeze, which is the cheap stuff you buy at Tractor Supply or Home Depot.
That won't kill you if you happen to drink it, even though it doesn't taste very good.
Yeah, I don't know what would happen if you would drink glycol antifreeze, the stuff that's in an aqua hot, but probably not good.
All I know is I've through life mistakes and other things tasted antifreeze by accident. That wasn't great, but it didn't taste very good, and it made you spit it out pretty quick.
Yeah, it's I don't know. Yeah, it's not good.
Yeah.
The key thing. Oh, that does bring me up to another question that we get all the time, which is, do I have to winterize the aqua hot system? Like, because you have these little radiators all over the RV. They're basically just little blowers. They're very similar to a house where you have a radiator on your baseboard. These
Yep.
just have fans on the back of them, and they blow over a smaller radiator since you don't have as much baseboard. And people always are like, but how do I winterize that? And I'm like, you don't have to winterize that. That's full of glycol antifreeze. So you never have to touch the hydronic side of your system. You only have to touch the hot water side, which is what you'd hop in your manual and check your hot water heater winterization.
So just mechanically thinking that through, it's not exchanging hot water. It's not running hot water from your hot water heater through all of those little radiators. It's a separate system that's using a heat exchanger.
Perfect. Exactly. Yeah.
All right.
There's a whole different antifreeze that's in there that prevents corrosion, and also, if you would not want to run like city water through that, it wouldn't last very long if you did. So definitely never just go, I could throw water in that, it'll be fine. It's not gonna work.
I mean, think about like water cooled PCs and just even that small of a thing, and the crazy bacteria that goes in those, and they're circulating. They're not just stagnant.
Yeah, I mean, these circulate, but yeah, and you can, if you use distilled water and you use a concentrated glycol, you can do that, obviously. But I saw one person use non-distilled water with glycol mixed, and the stuff that came out after a year was very brown, like instead of pink. He's like, yeah, it happens every year. I'm like, it's not supposed to.
And probably didn't smell great either.
I was like, I've had mine in for 3 years. It's not that color. So yeah, definitely keep an eye on that.
So do you have any life lessons / other stories of things that have gone wrong from not winterizing your RVs in the past? Or
I've been really lucky. But I can tell you that I did meet one person who forgot to blow out their aqua hot system, and it was about a $5,500 repair. And I won't even call it a repair because he got a salvaged aqua hot and replaced the whole unit. So there are some very small coils inside that unit that are not serviceable. They're like welded right onto the body. So yeah, it's virtually like you're never going to damage your aqua hot in a cold environment situation, because you simply have to turn it on and you'll be fine. Even if the rest of the RV freezes, your aqua hot will keep itself warm. It is a heater. So don't worry about that. But yeah, like, don't leave your RV completely parked and stored with an aqua hot that hasn't been winterized. Like, and you can flip on the electric. You don't have to flip on the diesel burner, and it'll still keep itself plenty warm. But that's been one of the worst. Little simple, easy ones. A lot of people's outside showers. There's like on almost every RV, there's this thing that no one uses very often, except for to like wash down sewer hoses and stuff. They call it an outside shower. It's more like it's just a little coil. Yeah, it's an outside faucet. And they are, I don't know, my outside faucet leaks. I'm like, I know why it leaks. And it's because when you're in the middle of a winterization procedure, that just always gets forgotten. Because it's like you're out there and you don't really, it's like, what I don't need to, you just don't think about it because you don't use it very often. So
yeah, that makes sense.
I'd say the word of wise is, before you start, make a checklist and think about anything possible that can consume or produce water. Meaning consume would be a drain, produce would be a faucet.
Some kind of tap. Yep.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot. Like, I mean, washing machine, ice maker is a good one. Refrigerator in your refrigerator, water dispenser, water dispenser on your countertops are very popular, especially in the early 2000 models. Obviously, your standard sink shower, outside shower. Some coaches now are coming with outside water spigot. So, like, you want to hook up a hose somewhere. That's a big one,
Mhm.
especially
Yep.
with like the toy haulers, because you like want to hose down your ATV
Dirt
or
bike,
whatever.
or yeah, that makes sense.
Um,
Or
and
hose off yourself after dirt biking,
yeah,
you know?
exactly. And no matter how many times I winterize, I can't tell you how frequently I get ready to winterize, and at the last steps have forgotten to remove my water filters. So there's nothing more fun than having brand new water filters and then running antifreeze through them because they're toast. So you've just spent $50 on a set of filters and they're gone. So
That are
if
now
you
pink
have
inside for no
yeah,
reason
if
other
you have
than
an
yeah.
exterior water filter like our MR3s, you're safe because you're never going to get antifreeze that far down the line. But if you have a one that's fixed mounted, one of the first things you want to do is take filters out before you winterize.
But put the casing back on, otherwise you fill up your right?
Well, yeah, definitely. Yes, you take your
Sorry.
filters off, then you put your empty cases back on, or else you will shoot antifreeze or air or whatever right out that system that's not pressurized, or that's not.
You know what they say, right? Common sense isn't that common. So, better to disclose. But
Yeah, it's not a question of what will go wrong when you're RVing. It's just a question of which one's going to be first. And I think we've all probably the first one that everyone does is they hit their head on this bottom of the slide. That's like your initiation. Until you've done that, you're not an RVer. And then from then on, it's just a
do you have
comedy.
the scar visible there, or
It's hilarious. Like, I've been doing this long enough where it hasn't happened to me in years. But I am backing out from underneath areas of an RV that have no slides. Like, that's just how I'm conditioned to never stand up within 3 feet of an RV without.
yeah.
Uh, yeah, because it hurts.
In
But
in in sailing terms, so on when we used to deliver sailboats and car top them, we would have these extra long roof racks that go past the edge of the door sills to fit the boats. And the first time you get out of your car and stand up into the end of the Thule rack, and that's a memorable experience that
rite of passage, exactly.
I swear I think I still have it dent up here somewhere. After I did that, I sat in my car for a good 5 minutes and just was like, I need to think about my life choices for a second while I get my bearings as to what my name is. So, but
That's too funny. Yeah, so I've got the complete list on winterizing,
yep.
but I mean, I think a couple high level items would be, make sure you find how to drain your freshwater tank. That's a kind of a first initial one. You're going to find some drain either in a compartment or all the way underneath, where it's just a little petcock that's going to allow you to drain that tank.
From the low point of it, so it actually drains all the way. That makes sense.
Exactly. Then a lot of RVs, most RVs will have something called a low point drain, which is another petcock that's basically sort of connected to all of the freshwater lines. There will be two low point drains, a high and a low. And that, in theory, if your RV is leveled and you opened up your faucets everywhere, would allow all the water to drain out of the RV because everything drains to that low point. But I say in theory because it's just not true. There's just too many bellies in too many different pipes in too many areas where the low point drains really don't do what they say they're going to do, which is where you get yourself into either wanting to complete that winterization cycle with just antifreeze, or if you're like me, you want to do it with air. And for me, what I do is I do the entire system with air. And we've got an article that goes through it, but essentially you're using the Viair with the winterization system, and you're going, faucet by faucet, and you're blowing out all of the different lines, both hot and cold, until you're really just seeing air at each of those locations. I first initially keep all my faucets closed, open up my low points, blow everything out the low point, just because it puts less into my gray water tank that I have to then dump again. And then I close the low points and I open up each faucet, and that gets almost all my water out of the system, which is initially kind of the way that we end up doing it. And then once I've got it out of there, I'll actually go back, and I've put those steps together for every bus is a little bit different, but I'll do my aqua hot at the very, very end, and only use, so I'll basically tell my RV, hey, suck in some antifreeze, because I just turn a couple knobs and it'll basically turns my water pump into a suction system that will pull in antifreeze. But then I'm holding the trigger on my outside shower, waiting for that pink on the hot water side. So I know it's going to go through my aqua hot, but it's not going to go through the rest of my lines.
Yep. Okay.
But yeah, that's just the way that's worked for me, so that I don't have as much antifreeze. It also means I don't have to buy 5 pounds of antifreeze. I can get the job done with 1.5 or so.
Okay. In terms of timing, just because, and I have no sense of time for how long this process should take. The first time you do this, it's going to take longer, but how long would you think it would take to do all this?
I think it's highly dependent on if you have an aqua hot system or not. If you don't, well, I'm not even going to make it about the aqua hot. It's almost like if you have, it's very unlikely that you have a dishwasher and a washing machine if you don't have an aqua hot. Those kind of will come together. But nowadays with newer RVs, they're actually probably doing. So long story short, if you have a larger RV, I'd give yourself 2 hours. If you have a smaller RV, I'd give yourself an hour. And if it's your first time, I would double that, sadly.
Yep.
Just because, why not? Do it slower. You're probably making your initial checklist. You're gonna do something wrong. You're gonna have to double check it. I mean, I just did mine 2 weeks ago, and then had to come back the next day and do my washing machine because I forgot.
And you've been doing this for a long time at this point, right? I mean,
I haven't done winterization that much, just because we were usually living in it. But yeah, it's not it's not muscle memory for me yet.
Yeah,
what I love is that my PepLink system allows me to log into my VegaTouch and turn my heat on. So when I realized that I'd forgot, I didn't really care. I could use my phone to just fire up the heat in my RV again. And then I went back to winterizing it again the next day.
Very cool. Yeah, I'm not coming up with the other major questions that are coming out of this. I mean, I think that article was really comprehensive. I can say that only because I edited it for you to take out some of the typo stuff. But
yeah, I mean, I'd say if I could come up with a couple things that I know I've done wrong, one is don't forget to flush your toilet. There is water in your toilet, even though it's not a faucet. So step on that pedal until you see air coming out. Make sure you dump a gallon of antifreeze down your toilet, because you don't want whatever's in there to freeze solid.
Obstacles are no fun.
Yeah, I mean, look, you did clean out your tanks before you started this process, so they're clean, but nothing's ever that clean. So, and then make sure you dump a fair amount down your shower drains and your other drains to protect your gray water tanks. Most of the problems happen on the downstream side, on the drains, because people forget that they got to add antifreeze to the traps.
Yep.
And if you come back from leaving the vehicle for like a long time, just remember that when you're dewinterizing, if it smells like gray water and kind of a poopy smell, it's because all of your traps in your RV have dried out. So there's no longer any liquid in your traps. So once you get,
Preventing creating that
yeah,
vapor lock. Yeah. The
exactly.
seal.
So
Yeah.
once you get a little, that's why everyone, you get into an RV that's been sitting for a while and it smells like gray water. It's not that you have a leak or something went wrong. It's just that the vapor barrier on your traps is gone because the liquid evaporated. So
Yeah.
once you get everything going again, it'll come back to normal.
Oh, that's why you have screens and windows to air it all out afterwards anyway, right? I mean,
Yeah, exactly.
So do you have any plans for travel for this winter once we get through the holiday season?
Yeah, we're in a heated family debate about if we're going to Vegas or Florida. And my little one is going to be 4 years old next year. So
Getting
that
into the
starts to
Disney.
well, it starts to complicate my life from a where does he go to school perspective. So we will most likely be more on the like 4 to 6 month travel schedules, not the 6 to 8 month travel schedules. So,
Mhm.
you know, my wife's like, let's go to Florida. I'm like, you want my last trip to be Florida? I'm like, and I'm a dad with kids who want to go to Disney. So I'm going to be in Florida for the next 4 years anyway.
Yeah, it's going to be an annual trip for a
Yeah, I
long
was like,
time based on
it's
my
just like,
brother's experience.
and you know, but driving to Vegas is no small feat when it's easier for me driving than it is for her holding two small children while we're driving. So I can see both sides of the coin. So we'll see where we end up.
Which is Saki voting for? Vegas or Florida, do you think?
Uh,
I don't think he cares, but
I think he would prefer Vegas because that means he gets to eat 3 hours earlier.
I like it. For those of you who don't know, Saki is Eric's cat, who is personality, and he's a tour de force in and of himself. He should have his own Instagram at this point.
And in 45, no, he's got one more year. So he's going to turn 19 in April, and then he'll be 20 the year after if he decides to grace us with his presence that long. He doesn't seem like he's going anywhere. Doesn't look 20, but yeah, he's
no. I mean, the last time I saw pictures of him, he doesn't look any different than when I took photos of him 10 years ago. So
it's just a, you know,
pretty
doesn't
impressive.
do a lot. So I guess you last a while when you kind of just keep it simple.
Yep. Well, Vince did give a follow-up. Just thanks for the info. He did have a question. How many gallons of RV antifreeze you typically want to buy for an, a Class A or a large RV?
For a large RV, I always buy 5 or 6. It comes in a 6-pack at Home Depot. And that would be if you're going to do a full winterization, including all the lines. You can cut that down by 2 to 3. I can get away with 2 gallons if I use air. But I'm always a little more generous with the drains. That's where I use most of it, not the lines. Because I'm just like, I just want to make sure there's enough in because I have macerating toilets, and I'm like, how long is that macerating discharge line? Like, I flush it once. Is one enough flush? Did I get all the way to the end? So I'll flush it twice, and there goes a gallon with 2 big flushes. So,
That makes sense.
so yeah, I think but I can't imagine going through more than 5. Honestly, I just buy the 6-pack because it's easier to carry than 5, and then I usually have
because it's shrink wrapped.
Yeah, it comes in like a cardboard box.
Yep. Cool. Very cool.
But yeah, if you're using air, it's 1 to 2 max. I'd say on a regular travel trailer, you don't need it for anything. You're just using it on the drains.
Yep.
So you're
everything
literally
else,
and you're done. Like you're all set. On a larger one, maybe 2 to 3 tops. But yeah, I prefer using air 100% of the time. I just think it's so much easier to de-winterize when you've got air rather than antifreeze.
It's just a lot less liquid to deal with, I would think.
Yep, absolutely. So just one other point to mention is that the 400 and the 450, so those are your kind of larger buyers that look kind of like this. That's kind of
Here, I'll give you a bigger stage here to.
Yeah, that's your units that are going to support winterization. They're going to be able to have that continuous air pressure output. And then the winterization kit here is really what you're getting is you're getting a control here that allows you to dial in exactly what air pressure you're using. And then you're getting a garden hose adapter here that's going to be able to go right into your standard water inlet. And then you're getting the gauge, obviously, that's going to tell you exactly what's going on. So what you're really doing is, just to give you a high level on the Vier stuff, is you're hooking this all up before you hook up to the system. Like hook your Vier up, hook this up to the Vier, and then dial your pressure down, counterclockwise is down, to that 45 psi. Because once you hook it up into the system, all of the numbers here are going to drop to something super low, and it's you don't have to adjust it after. You just adjust it when the system's unplugged, get it right, and then plug in the system, and it will stay at that regulated pressure, even though the gauge is going to go down to like 20 something. And the reason why it matters is because it'll go down to 20 because you have something open somewhere.
Right, because it's pushing stuff out. Yeah, that makes sense.
But if you close all the valves, the pressure is just going to grow and grow and grow and grow, and this is what's going to protect you. I used to do it without this, and it's just you're just playing. Let me put it this way: way easier with two people if you want to try to do it without this, because someone could at least stay outside, keep an eye. But it's just not worth it for $39. Just the kit's great; it comes together, and it really does everything you need it to do. And if you bought this, and this at Home Depot, which they actually all sell these individual pieces, although they're brass, not stainless, it comes out to like $5 less. So, and then you got to put it together. So I don't think they're being unreasonable with their price amount on it. It's pretty decent.
Well, and at least it works at that point versus like maybe you got a fitting that's the wrong size or something else. We've for all of us that have tried to DIY stuff too many times, right?
Yeah, I mean, this is certainly not. There's nothing here that I would say is patentable, but by Vier, but they did a really nice job putting it together, and it just fits really well and easy into the bag and does everything I need to do. So I've been really happy. But yeah, it's the reason why I have the 450. A lot of people ask why the 400 or the 450, and I go, the 450, and they go, why? And I go, because it's got an unlimited duty cycle, which means it could technically run forever. The 400 has, I think it can run for 40 minutes without needing a break, which is honestly more than enough for you to winterize your RV. But and it actually pumps a little bit faster.
Okay.
The 400 is less money and pumps faster, but no unlimited duty cycle. So it's up to you what's more important for you. I'd rather have it pump a little slower, but know it can kind of go forever, because I also think it's probably working a little bit less hard because it's not trying to push so much air so fast. But I don't think there's a right answer. Andy has the 400 and loves it. I have the 450 and love it. And so far, I have not found anyone who's gotten the 400 to actually shut off. So maybe that one is the better one, since, I've never seen the duty cycle ever be hit. So I guess it is just a faster pump for less money, but I'll go with the 450. It's up to everybody.
Well, I mean, I still subscribe to the Tim the Toolman Taylor. The bigger the number, the better, right? I mean,
right?
That's been for.
Kind of missed that show.
Oh, totally.
That
was a good one.
Lawnmower that had like the Chevy big block engine in it or whatnot. That was a pretty.
Oh yeah. Well, I used to live in Connecticut in the same town as Paul Newman, and he had a Volvo station wagon with a small block V8 in it that he would drive around. You could hear him coming for a while. It was pretty funny. So
that is awesome.
Yep. Well, I don't want to hold you for too long, because I know you're a little under the weather, but I do appreciate. Yeah, I'm the one with tea, but I figured we did want to get this out there before the holidays, just because I think a lot of people will try and winterize. We'll want to do that.
If has any questions, they can always pop over, and if the team doesn't know, they'll just message me and say, "Hey, what's the status with this?" We don't mind and answering any questions, and just make sure you follow those instructions in the guidepost that we have, and then just make sure to do a once over in the winterization section in the user manual for your RV. And remember that you want to cross-check not only the user manual in the RV, but also the manual for your hot water heater system,
Yep.
your dishwasher, if applicable, and your washing machine, if applicable.
Okay.
Because I have not yet found a user manual from a manufacturer that when you read the winterization instructions, they don't reference how to do those other devices. Monaco is one of the better ones. They actually will reference like, hey, and if you have a washing machine, go figure that out. But a lot of them just totally skip it. So just make sure if it has water in it, find the manual from that device and check it, because it's not like, oh, it's not listed here, I can just skip it. No, you can't.
Nope. No, you can't.
Well, you
If it
can't.
has water in it, it's still gonna have something that's gonna freeze.
Yeah,
That
you can
makes
skip
sense.
it. It just may not work in the spray.
Or may lead to a very nasty answer, like problem
Yeah,
later.
I have
Yeah.
replaced the washing machine in an RV. It is about as much fun as it sounds.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, what I would like
Wait,
people
what do you
always
mean
used
the
to,
door? What do you mean the doorway is 27 inches and the washing machine is 28 inches? How did they get this thing in here? You
because
don't
they
want to
put it in
find out.
before the doorway was in there. Yeah.
They're getting better. They're getting better. I have not seen that in a 2000 on RV, but I have seen it in older ones where I'm like, they built this room around this appliance. I cannot believe this.
Well, I've seen people do that with homes too, where you build a couch, you put the couch together in the room, knowing it's never going to leave.
Yeah.
But
They installed the big double door refrigerators in all Integra coaches. Obviously, when they install it, they're probably doing it before the walls come up, the first one. But when they do repairs, they actually go in through the driver's side toll booth window. So it's kind of an interesting. They'll actually forklift it over the steering wheel in to get a new refrigerator in. And in
like
certain
they'll
cases,
take the whole front windshield off, basically.
no, not the windshield. They'll take the side window out. It's easier. In
Wow.
certain floor plans, they have to take the front windshield out, but they've figured out that it's much easier to take the side toll booth window, like when you pay a toll.
Yep.
That window, that's where they can bring a full 36-inch wide refrigerator through. So, yeah, never seen it done, but heard about it a lot of times from the technicians we talked to. Are like, oh yeah, that's a fun day.
Yeah. Just give them a GoPro next time they say they're going to do that job, because I want to watch that. That's amazing.
I've
That sounds
tried.
amazing.
There's like, so when you go to drop your RV off, at least with Integra, you will be asked if you have any cameras in the vehicle, and if they find them or see them, they will tape over them. So they do not want any recording going on during their inside of their factory.
I mean, that's fair too, in the sense that, you sign up to be a maintenance tech for Integra. You don't necessarily want to be a YouTube star. I could
I mean, I
appreciate that.
imagine some of it's around liability, but I actually think a lot of it's around trade secret stuff. They don't want other
Yeah.
people knowing stuff, but it's probably both. So yeah, we all do
Yep.
what our insurance companies tell us to do, I guess.
This is very true. Us included. So
Yeah, my least favorite call. Oh, what do the lawyers think about this? We try not to make that call as often as possible. They are no fun.
no, they are not. Very cool.
Yeah. So
Well,
good times. Sorry, I sound like I'm sick, because I am.
yeah, no, that's okay. And just thanks for joining us and answering the questions that came up. I think that's really helpful for people, and this will exist on our YouTube channel as a reference, as a follow-up. I'll add this to the article. So just in
Absolutely.
case.
And for anyone who's not aware, we're running our December giveaway promo right now through the end of December. What it essentially means is if you shop on our store, any purchase of $250 or more will unlock free gifts. So there's different gift tiers: $250, I think, $500, $1,000, and $2,500. So depending on if you were thinking about buying something anyway, and you're like, oh man, I don't know what to get my dad for Christmas or something like that, this could be an interesting opportunity. The gifts are pretty cool. Like, you can unlock a Viair compressor at the higher tier. So I mean, they're not, we're not throwing you like free calendars. They're pretty
No more beanies with headlights on them.
Oh no, that's in there. That's tier one.
No.
If you spend $250, you get a beanie.
Which is that beanie is incredibly useful.
It's annoyingly useful. I know. I'm like, do I have one around here?
I don't have mine anywhere here, but yeah.
Mine's in the RV where I need it. But yeah, whenever I'm going out and I'm freezing and I got to go dump the tanks, I can press my little button on my hat and I'm good to go.
Yep.
So just a reminder that that's going on through the end of the month. And as always, price match guarantees are always in effect. So if you, for any reason, see something at a lower price anywhere, we are always going to take care of you and make sure we price match that, and you always pay the lowest price.
I love it. It's almost like we rehearsed that, but we actually didn't. So that's even better.
I just spent the last week coding that stupid promo with Andy, so that's all I can think about.
Yep.
Know more about website coding than I ever wanted to.
Well, yeah, here we are.
It seems to be working. All right, bud.
Well, thank you again, and thank you everyone who tuned in. We really do appreciate it, and we will see you next week.
Thank you.
One more before the holiday break, and then we'll be back in the new year. So
cool. Do we have our topic yet?
We're still debating that with Andy. I'm trying to see what I can get him to talk about. So just so we give you a little bit of break, unless you want to come back and
I don't mind. Just tell me
get
what
the full. Yeah, no.
As long as it's something I know a little bit about. I don't know.
Exactly.
We'll see.
Exactly. We'll get there, but we'll put it up and announce it in the next couple of days. So
sounds good. Thank you.
Very good. Thank you. And we'll see you guys next week. Thanks for joining in, and have a wonderful afternoon.